One woman is taking on gender discrimination in the workplace with a $16 million lawsuit. Ellen Pao says she was denied a promotion because she couldn't break into the boys' club of the tech world. But her former company says she just didn't deserve it. Now she's opening up to our colleague and Yahoo Global anchor Katie Kirk about why her fight to level the playing field isn't really personal at all.
HBO's Silicon Valley is set in a world that feels more like a frat house than a high-stakes corporate jungle.
Yes! 1,000 times yes! Doing it, yeah!
And it was this culture, seemingly glorified on screen, that was under examination when 45-year-old Ellen Pao filed a $16 million gender discrimination suit against her former employer, Kleiner Perkins Caulfield and Byers, a venture capital firm that has backed Google, Twitter, and Amazon.
You've got people who are used to not following rules, and they don't know where the boundaries for behavior are. And it works for them in one aspect of their careers.
The lawsuit claimed, among other allegations, that there were unwanted sexual advances in the workplace, retaliation against her after ending an affair with a married coworker, and uncomfortable conversations about pornography. Do you think the freewheeling, write the rules as you go along, kind of disruptive culture of a lot of tech firms that, while they may unleash creativity, do you think that environment can conversely lead to bad behavior in the workplace?
You know, they take risks and they build product and people like it and they get rewarded for it. So, you know, it's natural for them to bring it into other areas as well.
But the company claims it wasn't a boys' club that got Pao fired, but poor performance, a sense of entitlement, and not being a team player. Pao disagrees and claims she didn't make senior partner because she's a woman.
You know, the woman is assumed to be, you know, the assistant or the junior person. You know, and it's just these little things that add up. They call it like the death by a thousand cuts, and you're just constantly trying to get that equal playing field, but being taken out of it step by step.
She says she was often left out of social engagements, which brought her male colleagues closer, because as Pao alleges one colleague said, women killed the buzz. Let's talk about those sort of off-hours social activities, like dinners or ski trips or golf outings. Is that where a lot of the business is actually done, where a lot of the relationships are actually built and established? And how does that affect people who are maybe excluded from those activities? You're forming closer relationships, you're having discussions about business in these different events, and you may be actually resolving problems or getting somebody to say, okay, I want to do this transaction or I want to have this project move forward. Her trial played out like a real-life soap opera set in Silicon Valley. The details of her marriage to Wall Street executive Buddy Fletcher were put under a microscope. He sued the board of the Dakota, a Tony, New York City apartment building where John Lennon once lived, for racial discrimination after it didn't approve the purchase of an additional apartment. The board claims it had nothing to do with race, but alleges Fletcher's financial troubles. Fletcher declined comment for Nightline's story. Some have questioned the timing and motivation of your whole case. Your husband was having legal and financial troubles, including a bankruptcy surrounding the hedge fund he ran. Some stories have suggested that he might be the driving force behind this. Others have said he warned you this would ruin your career. How would you describe his role in all this? I can't talk about the case, and I would rather not talk about my husband. Do you think in some ways, even if you can't discuss it, it's relevant? I think this is a really hard issue, and people are very comfortable attacking the person who raises these issues with whatever they can find, and it's often not very pretty. In the end, a jury of 6 men and 6 women sided with Pao's former employer. When it comes to your situation, people have said, there was no legal merit to your complaints. And is this something that can be proven legally? In other words, are there often subtle examples of this that may not be illegal, but they may be inappropriate, or they may create an environment that is not helpful to women and minorities? So I don't really want to talk about the legalities of my case or general. I think people have to think about what is fair and what is right, and are women succeeding at the rates that they should be? Are minorities succeeding at the rates that they should be? And if you look at the numbers and if you hear people's experiences, the answer is no. Despite receiving fan mail and messages of support from all around the world, Pao's lawsuit had its critics.
The idea that she was highly qualified and still fired just does not make sense.
Heather McDonald wrote a scathing op-ed in the Wall Street Journal about Pao's case.
In fact, Ellen Pao was given advantages and a leg up that male comparable employees at Kleiner Perkins were not given.
Some of those negative comments and some of the critics, I think, might say that women play the gender card when the truth is they just aren't that good. So when people accuse you of just, hey, she couldn't cut it and she's just crying foul regarding gender, what's your response to that?
I can't really talk about my case, so I can tell you that it's, from a broader perspective, it's a hard issue for people to really confront. It's either like society has this problem and it's hard to fix, or this woman has a problem and let's just ignore it.
Meanwhile, Powell may have lost this battle, but she's not raising a white flag yet in her case against Kleiner. Is the road ending here for you in terms of your legal recourse? Where does that stand?
We are not talking about it. We're still in the midst of making some decisions.
About whether you will in fact appeal the case?
Yes, and we're not talking about it.
Our thanks to Katie Couric. You can check out Katie's full interview with Ellen Pao on Yahoo News.